Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Mr. Outlaw, and today we're going to take a look at the HanaModz V4D. This is their version 4 with the DNA40 chip, and it has dual batteries. So let's get into it. It is getting foggy in this room. I decided to move into my bedroom, as you can see from behind me, because I have my computer in here and a better web camera, but boy, the vapor is just filling this room. I can barely see through the room. Good thing the smoke detector's out in the hallway. I'm loving this device. I picked this device up from HanaModz.com. This is the blue one. It is specially engraved for me. It says Mr. Outlaw on there. Now, it retails on HanaModz website for $209, but they also have another little section. If you look on there, it says sale. What the sale ones are is they're like little scratch and dents. They have a few little scratches on them where the finish is kind of like funny in a couple spots, and those sell for $179. So if you don't mind a couple little scratches, like I personally don't, it's a good way to save yourself $30. They're also really good if you want to look at the different ones that they have. You can email them, Facebook them, Twitter them, or call them and tell them what color you want, and they will text you a picture of whichever one that you're interested in, and you can look at it and see if the scratches are too much or if you don't mind whatever happens to be on that particular device. That's what I ended up doing. I called them up, I asked them, send me a picture of the green one, send me a picture of the blue one, and I picked the one that I liked best. Now, this is a nice device. I am really enjoying it. It's got the same DNA40 chip from Evolve that's in the VaporShark Rdna 40, and if you haven't seen my review of that, I'll leave a link down in the description, or you can press this button right up here. Go ahead and check that out when you get a chance. Now, as far as this device, what makes a difference? Most of it comes down to a couple little features and the body. Like I said, this is the V4D. It's their version 4 of the device, and it's a dual battery. They have a V4 Mini, a V4S, and a V4D. The V4 Mini doesn't have removable batteries. The batteries are built in. The V4S obviously stands for single battery, and the V4D has dual batteries, 18650 batteries wired in parallel. You can vape it from 200 degrees up to 600 degrees. You can run it with both Kanthal and you can run it with nickel wire, but if you want to take advantage of the temperature control, you have to run it with nickel wire. So as far as the rest of the features on it, let's read them here on the screen. We have a 40 watt regulated mod because it is the DNA40 device. It's 0.1 incremental wattage adjustment. As far as size, it is 3.8 inches in height. It is 1 inch in width and 2 inches in this width. In comparison to the VaporShark Rdna, it's a little bit bigger, but not too much bigger, and we'll take a look at it here and you can see them side by side. It's a little bit taller. It's close to the same width. Pretty much almost dead on for the same width. But you got to remember, they're cramming two 18650 batteries in this as opposed to the one battery that you have in the VaporShark. It is a 6061 billet aluminum body. Nice. It's nice and sturdy. If you drop it, it's going to hold up to it. Like I said, it has two batteries, and you can run it with just one battery. I've used it where I only had one battery in it. It runs just fine, but if you do put both batteries in, they have to go in the same direction because they're running in parallel. It has a floating 510 connecting pin. That's really nice. The only thing I would say with the floating pins is make sure that you don't screw your device down too hard. If you screw it down too hard, you can mess up that spring inside of there. It does have the smaller screen here, and we'll get into that on the up close and personal. Like all the DNA40s, it has preheat function. It has an onboard 50 milliamp USB. It's right here. It has nice clicky buttons, and we'll get into that more in the up close and personal. It does have overcharge protection, and it comes with a 6-month warranty. You can get custom engraving. Like I said, they engraved Mr. Outlaw right on the bottom for me. And the best part about the device is it's made right here in the United States. So let's take a vape here. We'll get up close and personal with the device and take a look at it. So when you get it, it does come in this nice little black box. Kind of simple, but I'm okay with simple. It says HanaModz, has the HanaModz logo. It says made in the United States on the one end. It's got what color you've got. And we'll open it up. And you've got your DNA40 device, a little piece of paper. And then it comes with a micro USB charging cord. I like the fact that it's also a braided cord. It's not like a cheap plastic cord. It's going to last a while. I don't know if they all match the color that you get. This happens to be a blue one. And this paper here says user's manual specifications is on HanaModz.com, and the dual batteries both have to be positive side up. So now as far as the device itself, we'll take a look here. It says here it's the HanaModz V4D DNA 40 device. On the back we have the same thing, and we have my name engraved. Like I said, it does have the smaller screen for the DNA 40. We have 2 buttons up here for power up, power down, and we have our fire button. They are nice clicky buttons. I like the feel of them. I do like that they are kind of recessed in there so you can press it with your finger. But I also like the fact that down here, you can feel them with your finger, but they're not quite as easy to press accidentally. Now up on the top, we do have our spring-loaded 510 connector. And there are slots if you happen to have a bottom airflow design for an atomizer. And then there is this little cutout for your 22mm devices. Now, I would say while we're looking at this one con, I only really have 22mm devices, but this could be an issue if you have something a little bit larger, like a 23 or a 24mm, because it may not be able to get into that pin. Down on the bottom, we do have an air hole, which I happen to really like the fact that there is a vent on this. If you remember on the VaporShark, there was no air hole, which I did talk to them, and they said with the DNA 40 chip, it's not something you have to worry about, and there was plenty of venting around the seams. But I like the fact that this is built in. And I also forgot to mention that right here, we have our USB charging port. And right here is, you really can't see what it is, but it's an LED light, and that's going to indicate when you're charging it and when it's both charging and when it's fully charged. We'll give you one more look there. It's a very nice device. It really looks good. It feels good in your hand. It just fits comfortably. My finger hits right on the fire button. Now, like I said, I was able to pick up one of the ones that are scratched, and like I said, they sent me a picture, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get it on camera, but you can see that there's some very, very faint scratches right here on the front. Really nothing noticeable, especially from a distance. You really have to look hard to see them. Some of the engraving has a little bit of scratch, and that's what was wrong with this device, and it was able to save $30 to get it. So let's go ahead and open it up and we'll show you the inside. Now there are 2 screws here to take the battery door off, which I personally think, you know, if you compare it to the VaporShark, I like the fact the VaporShark has the magnetic battery door if you want to change out the batteries. So this one, you're going to have a screwdriver to change your batteries. Now when I got mine, one of these screws was a little tight. Definitely just kind of give it pressure down, but don't strip it out. So we have our 2 screws, and then we're just going to take off our door here. And you can see it's a pretty nice thick device. It's made well. Oh, don't want to lose that screw there. We'll put that over here. We're going to leave it right there in the battery door. Now, inside of the device, right here is our DNA 40 chip, and we have our 2 slots for our batteries. Now, when you compare this to the VaporShark, I was definitely, I wouldn't say upset, but inside of the VaporShark, it's very clean. I see here, you can see all of the wiring. You can see the inside of the chip there. Here's the wires, which are just kind of soldered onto our battery terminals, both there and down here on the bottom. So I would have to say, as far as build quality, the outside is very, very good, but when I get inside, I'd say it's a little sloppy. They're trying to cram 2 18650 batteries into a very, very small box. So I understand that we're going to have some exposed wires if we want to stay at this same size device. But I would prefer to not see these wires maybe soldered across the top, maybe on the back. I worry that this solder is going to come off at some point if you're rough with it. Now, as far as the batteries, they recommend a few different types of batteries, like the VTC4, the VTC5. I don't have any of those, so I'm going to go ahead and put in my purple eFast. They're 2100 mAh, 30 amps. Now, like I was saying, you can put just one battery. You can see here, if we put the one battery in and we go ahead and hit the fire button, it does light up and work. But we bought two for a reason, because I want to have dual battery. So we're going to go ahead and put the other one in. And again, remember, you must put the positive up on both of them. Have to be the same. You're going to have a major issue. You could fry the batteries. You can have an explosion of the batteries if you put one, you know, going one way and one going the other, because these batteries are wired in parallel. Now, if you only put one battery in and put it in the wrong direction, you do have reverse battery protection with the DNA chip. But when you're dealing with dual batteries, you're kind of losing that. So we're going to go ahead and just screw this back up. And personally, I would not tighten these screws down too much if you plan on taking your batteries out a lot. Now let's take a look at the screen here if I can get this to focus. Like I said, it is the smaller screen. So if you're comparing this to the VaporShark, it is a much smaller screen. It only has 2 lines instead of 3. On the side, we do have our standard, our battery indicator, which seems to work very well. The top is going to be our ohms of our atomizer. The bottom line is going to be what temperature we have it set at, and then we have our watts. Now, to set into our temperature control, the first thing we need to do is lock the device. 5 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's going to be locked. You're going to press power up and power down at the same time. It's going to say hold to change temperature. And then you can just change your temperature to whatever you want. If you go all the way down to 200 degrees, just like with the VaporShark, you'll enter into Celsius mode. And if you keep going all the way down, you're going to go back into your Fahrenheit mode. If you go all the way up to 600 degrees, and then one more, you're going to go off. Make sure that you don't use nickel devices with the temperature control off. I'm going to put this back to 420 degrees, which is where I personally like it. Now, if we hit the fire button and power up, we're going to switch from left mode into right mode, and then you can switch it back. And then if we hit the fire button and the power down button, we'll switch into stealth mode. Now, one thing I like about the HanaModz over the VaporShark is that the stealth mode makes it completely stealth. Because the stealth mode simply makes this screen not turn on. But the VaporShark, if you remember, has a blue light that goes around the fire button. This one doesn't. So if you put it in stealth mode, you are really in stealth mode. It will not light up at all. Now, if you take it out of locked mode and you press the power up and the power down button, you will lock your power in. So now, no matter what, I can't change my power. Now, as far as making a coil, I'm not going to do one in this video for time's sake, but you can go look at my VaporShark Rdna 40 review. I make a coil in there, and I also have a video on my YouTube channel that teaches you how to twist Kanthal with nickel to get a little bit sturdier build. And I'll put a link for that in the description, or you can go ahead and hit this button right up here. That'll take you right to it. But all in all, I'm loving this device. It's a nice, sturdy device. Let's get into some pros and cons on it. Pros, nice aluminum body, nice and sturdy. Feels good in my hand. I like the position of the buttons. They just kind of fit perfectly in my hand. Another pro, DNA 40 chip. Loving this chip, never get a dry hit. Everything about it I really like. I really think that temperature control is the wave of the future. It's where we're going. It's safer, and again, we don't have any dry hits. What are the other pros? I like the battery vent on it. Definitely a nice feature. I like the battery vent. I like the fact that they give you a braided USB charging cable instead of just the cheap plastic one. I like that there's no light LED around my fire button. That was kind of annoying. It's very, very bright on the VaporShark. I like the LED light down here that tells me when it's charging and when it's fully charged. I definitely like that aspect of it. I like that it has dual batteries in it. Having the 2 batteries, I'm able to go probably about 2 days vaping pretty heavily without having to charge it. By the way, you can also use it as a pass-through. So long as you have your batteries in there, you can plug in the cable and vape while it's charging. And you can also use it with just one battery. That's definitely a plus. Another pro, if you buy it from HanaModz.com, is that you can get your name engraved on it. I definitely like that. And I also really like the fact that it's made right here in the United States. Another pro is the 6-month warranty. I love the fact that HanaModz is backing their work for 6 months. Now, negatives. Let's get into the negatives. I wish it had the bigger screen. The bigger screen on the VaporShark Rdna is easier to read. I like these buttons, but they could be a little annoying. They're kind of pointy. Inside, I wish it was a little bit cleaner. I wish those wires that are going to the battery connections are just maybe tucked behind it a little bit more so that they can't accidentally come off. I wish there was a way they can cover up that DNA 40 chip as well so that you don't have to worry about anything getting in there. The little ring that goes up here where your atomizer is, if you're using something bigger than a 22mm device, you may have an issue with making contact with the pin. Having to screw the battery door on, that's definitely a negative for me. The finish, it is a very nice looking finish, but I worry that it can scratch really easily. It's also very prone to fingerprints, and when you get your hands maybe a little bit of e-juice, it kind of gets slippery because it's such a slippery surface. It doesn't come with batteries, so in addition to the $179 or $209 that you pay for the device, you're going to have to spend another $15 to $30 for two 18650 batteries, depending on which brand you buy. Another little nitpicky con, shipping isn't free. I think it's $10 to ship if you buy it from HanaModz.com, and then if you want it faster, there's extra charges. I think it's $10 for 3-day shipping, $20 for 2-day shipping, and $30 for next day shipping. All in all, I really, really like this device. It's well made. I like the DNA 40 chip. I know it's a safe chip. Yes, it is a little expensive, but you know, when it comes down to the device, I personally want an authentic. You know, when atomizers, you know, RDAs, RBAs, I'm all into buying clones. I really can't see spending $100, $150 on an RBA. I'll buy a clone. But when it comes to the device itself, I want to have the authentic because I want to know what I'm getting. You know, I don't know what I'm getting when it comes to a clone. I don't know what kind of chip's in there. I don't know how well it's made. At least I know that the DNA 40 chip is made here in the United States, and I know the Hana Modz is made in the United States, and they're going to back it. So if there's a problem with it, you can send it back to them. So would I buy a Hana Modz over a VaporShark? You know what? It's kind of up in the air. They both have their pros and they both have their cons. You know, the VaporShark has 1 battery. The Hana Modz has 2 batteries. I really like both of them. It's kind of hard for me to pick back and forth between which one I like. I'm going to use them both. So that is my video for today, guys. Hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you learned a little something. Hopefully I was able to help you make a little bit more informed decision if you're interested in getting a DNA 40 device. Please do me a favor and hit the like button down on the bottom. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And until next time, happy vaping.